Hey everybody, Marcus here. 2 years ago, in my video entitled Feminist Epistemology Part 2, Postmodernism, I put forward an exegetical account pertaining to the formation of intersectional feminism and offered exposition as to the logical consequences that are necessarily entailed within. The conclusion of that video described how, due to the metaphysical commitments of postmodernism, a near infinite number of categories can be created on which people can be grouped. For example, a straight white male is a concept derived from three categories, namely gender, sexual orientation, and race. However, we can continue to bolt on additional categories such as immigration status, parental status, marriage status, economic status, and so on. If we were to combine all these categories, we could end up with a grouping such as gay, black, single, divorced, immigrant, poor woman who is a mother. As we can see, the more categories we add to the list, the smaller the number of people will belong to that specific group. The logical extreme of this is that each human being eventually ends up in a group exclusively composed of themselves, as the list of categories used to describe the group is so extensive, no one else alive will fit that mold. This, I argued, was the natural consequence of postmodernist feminist thinking. Furthermore, I argued that intersectional feminism allows for circular oppression, namely, that a gay white male under intersectional feminism is oppressive to a straight black male on account of race, but the straight black male is oppressive to the gay white male on account of sexual orientation. As a consequence of this solipsistic endpoint in grouping and the circularity of oppression, the interest groups that form will begin to turn on each other. Finally, these groups will destroy each other. In this video, I would like to describe a theory I am developing that I refer to as the intersectional end times. The intersectional end times, in simple terms, can be described as a singularity at which point the logical consequences of intersectional feminism have been fully internalized within the psyche of the mainstream of the victim class. Now, the victim class, as I would describe it for the purposes of this video, is anyone who willfully perceives themselves as a victim under any current categorization of victimhood as presented by the progressive stack. So, a gay man who willfully sees himself as a victim due to his homosexuality, regardless of whether or not he has at any point been discriminated against, would be part of this victim class. However, a gay man who willfully seeks explanations as to his plight anywhere but the conclusion of oppression would not be part of the victim class. The difference between the two is in how each account for why their life is how it is, and their perception of their own power to control the outcomes in their lives. The first gay man sees himself externally limited in an unjust manner, whereas the other sees himself externally limited in just ways, but unlimited to pursue his goals based on the freedom of his will. Now, the defining characteristic of the intersectional end times will be the shift of the mainstream victim class from seeing themselves as victims in light of one quality about themselves to universal, unqualified victimhood. But perhaps I need to elaborate on this. Under intersectional feminism, the gay man is oppressed by the straight man. However, the gay man is not oppressed by the gay man. Namely, his own group of gay men is not self-referentially oppressive, at least not logically. However, the gay man, having further added categories to define the group he belongs to, will find himself in a group of one. As a consequence, he will no longer feel he belongs to the group called gay men. He will belong to a group unique to himself. Now, even though the victim class gay man has extradited himself from the group called gay men, he will continue to see all other gay men as belonging to the group called gay men. In this way, the group called gay men will become, in a practical but not logical sense, self-referentially oppressive. This in turn will occur with all other existing groups that the victim class of people currently feel they belong to. But what does this mean in practice? Let us take a concrete example. Let us posit the existence of a woman named Sandra. Sandra is a poor lesbian woman. Sandra meets Lucy. Lucy is a rich lesbian woman. Currently, Sandra may see herself in solidarity with Lucy in relation to both women being lesbians. They may work together for some common goal to fight what they perceive to be injustices in relation to lesbian women. However, this is only possible if both Sandra and Lucy feel they belong to the group called lesbian women. However, post intersectional end times, this will no longer be the case. Sandra will not see herself as being part of the group called lesbian women, but part of the group called poor lesbian women. As Sandra is poor and Lucy is rich, Sandra will feel oppressed by Lucy and therefore will feel victimized by Lucy. Their common quality of being lesbians will mean nothing. But what about Lucy? It would seem Lucy must see herself as an oppressor towards Sandra. But Lucy will not stand for that. So, Lucy will need to expand the category list to put herself in an oppressed group in relation to Sandra. So, Lucy will not see herself as belonging to the group called rich lesbian women, but will see herself as part of the group rich immigrant lesbian women. As Sandra is not an immigrant, Lucy will feel oppressed by Sandra and Sandra her oppressor. Sandra will accuse Lucy of oppression towards her based on economic grounds, and Lucy will accuse Sandra of oppression towards her based on immigrant status. Now, as both are oppressing each other, they will need to resolve who is more oppressed. This will simply be an argument where Sandra defends the primacy of economic status while Lucy argues the primacy of migrant status. Yet in all of this, both are lesbians, and so we have lesbian women oppressing lesbian women. This very same pattern can be repeated over and over until someone finds themselves as the victim by virtue of one thing or another. If sensible victimhood cannot be established, then more outlandish categories can be created, as we have seen with fat women feeling oppressed by thin women. Now, the intersectional end times will occur when there will no longer be any solidarity within any currently existing interest groups. At that stage, everyone is fair game for accusation. What I believe will ultimately trigger the intersectional end times is when there is a very high profile rape accusation made by a woman towards another woman. Imagine the Harvey Weinstein situation if Harvey was a woman. Alternatively, it may be the case that an all new category will be invented upon which women will turn on each other. Though women have an in group bias, there's another truth that must be put into the mix. The only thing women hate more than men is other women. Indeed, if a woman has a choice in targeting either a man or a woman, she will choose the man. But when the precedent is set that women are also fair game for other women, the floodgates will open. After all, if there are more and more women in executive and management positions, how can a woman sleep her way to the top? She cannot. So why not make a sexual assault allegation instead? What loyalty will there exist between women when there's money to be made on victimhood? Targeting men will become more and more difficult as men clue into the danger that women around them pose. As more men withdraw into a MGTOW life explicitly or implicitly through methods like not mentoring women, never being alone with a woman, so too it will become more expedient for women to target other women. After all, if you are a woman and your female boss compliments your new shoes, did she not just sexually harass you? Well, perhaps today a woman may think not, but if the answer happens to be a yes, and that yes comes with $1 million payout, perhaps it was sexual harassment after all. With so many women calling each other sluts and bitches, is this not hate speech that can be capitalized on? Women accusing women is an untapped oasis of lawsuits, a new source of victimhood that can be capitalized on if only a few brave pioneering women were so to take the plunge. The Harvey Weinstein case is a milestone towards the intersectional end times. It has set the precedent in the social zeitgeist that feminists are fair game for accusation by other feminists. Though the outbreak of accusations towards other celebrities has been so far mostly contained to accusations against men, a moment in time will come when women will become easier and juicier targets than men. Maybe the accusations against women by other women will start off as accusations of racism, of discrimination based on sexual orientation, or perhaps a whole new category must be invented by women with which to attack other women. Perhaps mothers are discriminating against childless women or childless career women against mothers. Perhaps you, as a young woman, are being held back by your old female boss because of jealousy. Or maybe your married female boss is harassing you at work because you are single. Is your female boss holding you back because you are fat? I don't know. But what I do know is that if you, as a woman, feel you are discriminated against by other women, then I'm sure you will figure out a way of justifying that feeling and making that discrimination the reason you are stagnating at work. Whatever form the intersectional end times takes, whether it is triggered by women accusing each other on existing categories or inventing new categories, it will eventually come to pass. with men protecting themselves by withdrawing from women, women holding more of the positions of power, and new generations coming out more entitled than the last, any semblance of solidarity will dissipate between women as jealousy and resentment sets in. I think that as good Internet citizens, MGTOW should take up at least one cause for women. Namely, MGTOW should spread the word far and wide that women can discriminate against women too, and that women should not stand for it. I, as a transgender woman lesbian for one, will not stand for it. If women must be victims, let us give them a new oppressor to worry about. Let us, as MGTOW, highlight how women treat each other. Let us, as MGTOW, pave the intellectual groundwork to sick women upon themselves. After all, does any woman really care who she blames for her problems as long as she herself remains blameless? Thanks for listening. Go team.